Hey everybody, Josh from CaliforniaThroughMyLens.com. Today we're climbing the tallest mountain in Southern California, San Gorgonio. Standing at over 11,500 feet, Mount San Gorgonio is the tallest mountain in Southern California and a rite of passage for most hikers. However, this is not a mountain that should be taken lightly at over 17 miles and 5,400 feet of elevation gain round trip. If you have been training and want to know about the trail, or even if you plan to never hike it and just want to see what's up there, here's a video from my recent hike. We left at 4 a.m. to drive to the Vivian Creek trailhead, which is in the small mountain town of Forest Falls. After finding a parking spot, we gathered our gear and displayed our adventure pass. It is 5:30 in the morning and the parking lot was already half full. We are starting the full day trek to San Gorgonio. Since we did this trail in the dark before the sun rose, I got some clips on the way back when the sun was up so I could show you what the trail looked like. The trail begins with what is essentially a half-mile walk on the dirt road that goes along the creek bed. After you summit and are coming back down, it feels a lot longer than a half mile though. Eventually you'll reach a trail sign and then you'll go across the dry creek bed and start the switchbacks. Note that at the switchbacks you're going to start going up and you're basically never going to stop going up until you get to the summit. We had our adrenaline going when we started this in the morning, so it didn't seem that bad, but on the way down it was really steep, and it is one of the steepest sections on the entire trail. Since you are climbing so quickly, the switchbacks do give way to some great views relatively fast, and it's a nice area to go through if it's not in the dark. Alright, now we're cutting back to what I actually filmed in the morning while I was on the trail. We're about 1.5 miles in, we've made it to the San Gorgonio wilderness. This was the first major point of interest because it let us know that we had reached the top of the first set of switchbacks. After the sign, don't miss this short spur to the left, as it's only about a 10-foot walk to an overlook that lets you see a waterfall flowing off of Vivian Creek. Don't miss the waterfall. It was a 1-minute walk off the trail, definitely worth it. We've reached the top of the first steep section. Definitely a good understanding of what you're going to be getting into on this trail. If you don't like that section, probably should train a little bit more and come back. The section after the switchbacks is definitely the best section on the entire trail. It's beautiful with lots of plants, big trees, and you're following Vivian Creek the whole way so you get to hear the rustle of the water. This is the first of a few camps you'll reach, so if you wanted to overnight, you could camp here. But we are going this way. You definitely want to soak this area in, as the uphill is very gradual and there's lots to look at as you're hiking along. This area continues for about 1.5 miles, even getting some switchbacks as you get closer to the end, and it's a great place to stop and have a break, as it's such a beautiful area you're going to want to spend some time in it. We're 3 miles in, snack break. This has been a really beautiful section of the trail. Nice gradual incline, lots of trees to look at. It's a little cold though. We are crossing over the stream, going that direction. Here's the split for another one of the campgrounds, but we're going to High Creek. This is the second of 3 campgrounds, and this one and the last one are the most popular as they're further from the start of the trail and closer to the summit. Both of them are great places to stay if you want to do a 2-day ascent of San Gorgonio. We're finally able to see the sunrise. I'm sure it's going to be a hot one today, but it's really pretty right now. From here, the trail hugs the mountainside on big, long switchbacks as you make your way up. Finally getting our first real views down to the Inland Empire. I can't get over how beautiful this trail is. It doesn't feel like you're in Southern California. Most of this trail actually has decent shade until you get to the end, but I still recommend getting an early start as it's way nicer to walk through in the coolness of the morning.
We made it to about mile 4.5, and the sun just came out over the trees. It's beautiful now and it's warming us up, so I'm happy for it, but I think later in the day I'm not going to be as happy.
As the sun started to rise, the trail lit up and it gave us great views of the surrounding mountains.
More switchbacks.
This part of the trail really leaves the early forested area and continues to head up on a rocky path with better and better views out into the distance. At about 5 miles, there's another great flat section that you can pull off and rest at, with some down trees that you can sit on, and you'll probably see some other groups there as well.
That is not the summit. We're just continuing to go up. You guys check out how epic this view is. That is the next point of interest at the top of that mountain. There's another little waterfall on the trail right there.
When you get to this area, you're only 200 yards from the third backcountry campground, which is High Creek Camp.
Made it to High Creek Camp. This is where most people camp when they're doing the trail. Hey, look who we ran into on the trail. It's Kirby.
We found a wild Kirby.
Note that as you make your way out of the campground, this is the last place that you can filter water before the summit. Make sure you have enough water because this last half is the hardest part. This next section of switchbacks is about 1.25 miles long and it gains about 850 feet of elevation. Just take your time as it is a nice gradual slope and it gets much harder after this.
How are those switchbacks, Zach?
Not too bad.
So fun?
Oh yeah, so fun.
So we're right at about 9,500 feet going up on the switchbacks. Definitely steep, but it's nice because it's a gradual steepness, so you can keep a pretty steady pace. Kirby, that's not a 19-minute mile pace right there. That's right, let's see that motivation. Yeah, the dude Kirby is pretty crazy. This is his 14th summit, San Gorgonio, in the last 1.5 years. This is my first. Where's the end of the switchbacks?
Eventually, after a few more switchbacks, we finally made it to the ridgeline.
We're right at the 7-mile mark, and this is a great place to take a break with some awesome views.
We took a quick break, but we didn't want to stay too long as we just wanted to continue to push on. After leaving our rest spot, we started the next mile that would take us over 10,000 feet on more switchbacks on our way to the summit.
From this point on, you definitely want to put your sunscreen on because there's a lot of sun exposure all the way to the summit. You may think that that is the summit. It is not. It is a false summit. The summit is on the other side. We were doing about a 30-minute pace to that notch, but we're about 10,300 feet now, and the pace has slowed. It's getting tough. You can see the trail right there, and there's some people. And our destination is somewhere over there. We're in one of the last sections, but we're out of tree cover, so we're taking any shade we can get because it is hot and the sun beats down on you up here. but we're not too far from the summit.
Hope not.
Hope not too. There's the trail we came up right there.
After leaving the tree level, you really can see dozens of miles all around you, including the surrounding ridgelines and even San Jacinto in the distance.
Man, this section is brutal, but look at these views.
During this section, I was basically just taking photos and videos just so I could have an opportunity to take a break. And all of the audio recordings are just me huffing and puffing as I make my way up. This section can be pretty brutal as there's no shade, so you have direct sun, and it can be really hot or really windy depending on the time of the year. Once you get here though, just keep pushing as this is the last difficult part before you get to the summit.
There is the saddle that we were at when we took a break. We are getting high now. We're above 11,000 feet. We reached the last junction. We are close to the summit. It's like the surface of the moon up here. There is basically no plants and a ton of rocks. Luckily, it's cloudy today. San Gorgonio Mountain. Over the other side of that hill. I am so incredibly exhausted. We just came over the small hill and we can see the summit.
After crossing this hill, your work is basically done as it's 1/10 of a mile and a short little hill to get to the summit of San Gorgonio. Soak in the views as you're walking over and then just pick the best rocks to climb to get to the summit.
Made it to the summit, San Gorgonio. Summit, Zach. Do something exciting. No, you're gonna live in infamy now.
The summit is normally incredibly windy, but when we made it there was no wind and we just got to soak it in, have a snack, and enjoy the incredible views from the top of this 11,500 foot peak. Oh, and it was also Zach's birthday, so we brought him a candle and a birthday hat and sang at the summit. After that, all that was left was to sign the register book and start the 9-mile walk back to the car.
Thanks for hiking San Gorgonio with us, putting this away because it's 9 miles back to the car. I'm not looking forward to that. Be sure you train if you come up here because this is a tough hike, but it's an amazing one as well. We'll see you guys on the next video. On the way back down, do not miss the Vivian Creek trailhead. People get lost every single year because they miss it. There's 2 trails right here. It's the one on the left right there. But there's also a sign telling you not to miss it as well.